Today, I'm going to share with you how I like to fish a new body of water. These strategies are not mine, they're ones that I got from other anglers, but they're ones that I've applied and have actually worked for me, so I think there's some merit. Last weekend I went out fishing a new body of water for muskie and I applied these principles. Now you can apply these principles for any kind of fish. It doesn't have to be muskie. There's just some fine little details that you gotta switch up depending on the species that you're targeting, which I'll get to in a minute. Now, before I get on the water, I like to do research on a lake. I'll go online and I'll use websites like GPS Nautical Maps, completely free site. And I also use a paid app called Navionics. You've probably heard of it, but it has some pretty detailed maps of rivers and lakes, so you can get an idea of what you're gonna fish before you actually get there. Sorry, the sun's behind me. I know it's not the best lighting right now, but you don't care, do you? No. Now, with these maps and time on the water, I try and grade the spots accordingly. Oh, by the way, my name's Ben. I'm a paddlehead. So how do you grade these spots? You grade them based on structure and cover. What's structure and what's cover? Well, structure is basically the rocks and the shape of the lake underneath the water. So where does it change from shallow to deep? Where are there nice drop-offs? Where are there good ledges? Where's a big, nice, flat, shallow area close to some deep area? There's all different ways that structure can present itself in a lake. More examples of structure would be like big rocks that are not gonna move from season to season. So cover, what's cover? Cover is things like weeds. You know, cover is stuff that is not there, it's not part of the lake, it changes from season to season. Weeds move on a lake. You don't always find the weeds in the exact same spot every year. Now, some areas, of course you do, but yeah, some parts of the lake completely change. So that's cover. So if you can find structure with cover, those are some pretty good areas to target. So what are you looking for? Are you always looking for structure and weeds and that kind of combination? Well, it really depends on the type of fish and it depends on the season. So if you want to narrow down, oh, I just got water on the lens there. Whoopsies. So, okay, great. Now you know what structure and cover is. How do you use that information? That's where things kind of get more specific depending on the species of fish. So for example, for walleye, you might be wanting to look for these big, deep flats underwater, close to some shallow water, you know, or you may be wanting to look for extremely deep water if you're looking for lake trout. Like you may be wanting to look for more than 100 feet deep. So all of that really helps you break down a new lake depending on what kind of species you're looking for. So once you figure out where the fish may more likely be, obviously you're gonna try and target those areas more frequently. What's a strategy that you like to use when you're on a brand new lake or body of water? How do you like to target fish? So on Saturday, when I was targeting muskie, I was looking for that deep water close to the shallow areas. Because muskie should just be exiting their spawning kind of mode and hanging close to that deeper area, but still close to their spawning areas. Another strategy I like to use when I'm on a new body of water is trying to cover water. So cover water with, you know, fast moving baits like spinner baits, inline spinners, crankbaits, stuff that moves fast and allows you to fish an area effectively. So you can quickly eliminate water and figure out, okay, the fish are not here. Let's move on. Sometimes it's just the process of elimination. Eliminate a bunch of water, know where you don't want to fish, know where the fish are probably not going to be, and just don't try there. Not right away, at least. Another part of covering water is just moving fast. Don't fish in over an area too much. I mean, unless you think it has very high probability and unless you're marking fish on the fish finder. You know, that's a good reason to stick around and kind of hammer it a bit more. But otherwise, just cover water, keep moving. Let's find some new areas. The saying goes, 90% of the fish are in 10% of the water. It's not entirely true, but it kind of helps to think that way sometimes. Another thing when you're on a new body of water is give yourself permission to fail. Like, I know it sounds stupid, and of course you're out there to catch a fish, but don't be so hard on yourself if you can't land one the first time you go onto a new body of water. You've tried the body of water, you've learned a lot, and that's kind of what I did on Saturday when I went into there. I spent all day, like 7-8 hours on the water, just chucking baits, without any luck. But hey, I learned a little bit about the water. I learned where they aren't, at least, or not likely, but you gotta try new spots to figure that out. And yeah, you know, you gotta put in the time. It takes a lot of work. And that's why anglers are so protective of their spots. They don't wanna just tell you, oh, here's all the work I just put in. I'll just hand it over to you and all this information that, you know, I spent so much time on the water trying to figure this out. Sure, I'll just give that to you for nothing. So just consider that next time you ask for an angler's spot. So when you're on a new body of water, don't consider it a loss if you get a skunk. As long as you learn something about it, you figured out the area a little bit more, I mean, that's great. Go back and try again, and try again. This spot, I don't really want to try it. Something I learned about this spot is that it was just horrible with boat traffic. It's just not my cup of tea to deal with all that boat traffic all the time. Anyways, hope you enjoyed that video, and we'll catch you later.